So, the only reason that we're recording this is because obviously we're not the only ones that love Daisy. She's become popular, everybody loves her. And so this morning I took her out for a walk, for a morning wee like she does. She was on the lead, and where I took it were like a path, and there were kind of grass either side. And she does like this zigzagging thing where she decides where she wants to go to the toilet. And so as she crossed the path, she sort of yelped like not like a loud yelp, like as if we were to sort of say, ow, that hurt. And then she kind of shook her leg and then just like fell over, like collapsed, lost the use of her back leg completely. So I picked her up, took her back to Emma, and yeah, basically we've had to rush her down to the vet, and they've sent us straight up to like this state-of-the-art animal hospital where they're absolutely incredible, with actually one of the best kind of animal doctors in Europe. So she's in good hands. It's probably not making sense because my head's just all over, but I'll let Emma tell you what's kind of happening next, basically. Yeah.
So as Reese explained, basically he brought Daisy to me after she'd kind of done this yelp thing, shaking her leg, and then her leg wasn't working. To be honest, I thought it was probably just like, oh, she's got something stuck in her paw, he's just over exaggerating, he's worrying about her too much or whatever. I went outside, had a look at her, and her leg just would not, there was nothing at all, there was no resistance in the leg. When you put a paw underneath, she wasn't correcting it. Which is, I know that's something that they kind of have checked for on Daisy before because of her spinal issues. So that's the first thing that I did, was to check whether her paw was correcting itself, and it wasn't. On the right leg it was, but on the left leg it wasn't. So I could just feel it was completely floppy, that she had no control over it whatsoever. All the way kind of taking her down to the vets, I were trying to hold her and hold her straight, because obviously not sure, is it a spine problem, is it a brain problem, is it a dislocation, what is it? So I'm trying to hold her, but she's trying to fight to get away from me with her front legs as well, and she just wanted to sort of sit in a little pod. So I put her in a pod and she was just falling over. She no control, she has absolutely no control whatsoever over her kind of back end, just not she can't stand up, there's just literally nothing at all. So when we got her into our normal vets, we were waiting there quite a bit, unfortunately, and during that time, when they then tested her right leg had started to go as well, and she was still correcting it at that point, but very, very, very slowly. So that's kind of was already starting to go. By the time we've got her here today, she's not correcting the right leg at all. Like, it's just that she's got some movement in it, but she's not correcting it. So again, both legs have kind of like gone completely now. She has absolutely no control over either of her back legs. She can't stand up, she can't sit down, she's completely off balance. The poor little mite is absolutely terrified. You can just see it in her face. She just looks so scared. She's like looking at me as if to say, Mummy, why can't I sit up, why can't I walk? You know, you can see she just does not understand. Obviously, we kind of got her down here, took her in to see Massimo, which is the vet. There was a surgeon, he's a world-class surgeon. He's absolutely amazing as well with animals. He just loves them to pieces. It's clearly not just his job. We were lucky to get him this time, because when I rang up, the vets rang up to book us in to refer us down here, because you have to be referred into this hospital. It's like a world-class hospital for dogs and cats and what have you. And I spoke to a lady on the phone and I said, is Massimo available? And she said, he is here, but I don't think you'll be able to see him because he's got people booked in for checkups all day. Anyway, he's been nice enough to cancel all of that and put somebody else on top of those checkups, and he's taken Daisy on to deal with her issues. So we've obviously just been in, we've seen him, he's explained to us that basically he's pressed down her spine, she's snapped at him a couple of times, but consistently when he's pressing in the same place. So we don't think it's just like a chihuahua thing snapping at him. It's like, you know, she's obviously in some kind of pain. She didn't look in pain, but she just looked really confused, but she didn't necessarily look in pain, but she's clearly just really kind of tough cookie. and he's saying that there's obviously some problems with the disc in the spine. She's got to have an MRI done to find out exactly what that problem is, but what he believes is it's one of 3 problems. So one of the 3 problems he's saying very unlikely, so we'll leave that one to one side. That's to do with kind of like hemorrhaging and various other issues, and he doesn't think it's that, but it can be to do with 2 other issues around the discs basically. And one is kind of like a sudden onset problem, and the other one is like a deterioration problem. So the sudden onset one is where the outside of the disc, which is like a circle, it becomes kind of like brittle, breaks or gets damaged, swells, and the inside of the disc still remains soft. The other problem is where the outside of the disc gets so hard that it becomes brittle, but the inside of the disc becomes rock solid, and then that kind of smashes the outside of the disc, basically it breaks it. Either one of those is not great, but if it's the one where it's kind of got hard over time, that's a lot worse, because that means that it's much harder to resolve that problem, to remove the parts of the disc or whatever it is. He was trying to explain it all to us, and I'm just not absorbing the information at the moment. But basically the long and short of it is they have to do this MRI scan, find out exactly what's going on, but it's looking very, very likely that she's going to need spinal surgery. The risks to her having any kind of surgery, especially something like spinal surgery, which is going to take hours, is so high because she's so little and all of her bones are very little, so anything that they do is really kind of precise, really difficult to do because it's on such a small dog. Putting her under anaesthetic is really high risk because she's such a small dog. Even when they do their teeth, for example, they put them under like twice, once to assess and once to do any work on the teeth, because they don't like them to be under for too long. So if she does have to undergo that surgery, it's yeah, that's going to be really worrying, because we don't know whether she would come through that. There'll be a lot of high risks associated with that. We've had to kind of go through this form, sign loads of things to say that if she has to have the spinal surgery done, we understand all the risks, and there's all sorts of risks around kind of this thing that they can get where there's a sort of a disease that spreads up and down the spine. If you call it a disease, it's like something that just happens during the surgery. They don't really understand why it happens themselves, but it spreads, the damage spreads up and down the spine, and that can completely paralyse them, and at that point they just get progressively worse and have to be put to sleep. He said that's not very common, but it does happen. There's obviously the chance that if it's a degenerative thing, then removing that disc could be really difficult to do. That could damage a spinal cord. He did say it's really positive that we've got her down here within 24 hours of the damage sort of signs happening, because then the chances are that means it's like a sudden onset thing. So it's like the kind of option 2 thing that can happen, which is much easier to remove that part of the disc and like relieve the pressure on the spinal cord, which then hopefully just sort of brings the movement back. But at the moment we just don't know. We've just got to wait. So we're just sat outside waiting. We have toyed whether to film this, like Reese says, we kind of toyed whether to film this, what to do, but we in a very short discussion, because we're just not really had much time to think about anything. We know how much everybody that watches us loves Daisy. She's the star of the show, and we don't want to kind of eliminate you out of that part of our life. We always said we'll be honest about everything that happens in our lives and share every part of it with you, and you are as invested in, you know, watching us as you are like in watching Daisy. And you know, people care a lot about Daisy. They message us even though they've never seen her. They message us all the time about her, saying how lovely she is and what have you. So we just felt like we need to kind of take you through this process of what's going on. So that's what we're doing, or trying to do, in some roundabout way. Probably not very well, but that's what we're trying to do. At the moment, just nothing is sinking in. I just don't feel like I can. We're kind of sat in silence about it because it's really difficult to get through this kind of situation, and to stay strong and talk and be there for each other, because the minute you start to do that, you kind of feel like you're letting your guard down and then you get upset. So at the moment it's just autopilot. Wait for this surgeon to come out. We know she's in the best hands she can possibly be in. She's in one of the best hospitals in the country. She's with one of the best people in the world. We are very lucky that we've got insurance that covers this, so we don't have to kind of, worry about that. We can say, just go ahead, do whatever it is you need to do, just get it done, basically, because we're very lucky we're kind of in that situation. So yeah, I'm waffling, so I'm gonna go.
So Daisy's had a MRI scan. There's basically 3 discs that are on the centre of her back, slightly to the left or something, that are not okay, that have caused this paralysis. So we've basically waited round here in the van, so it's just going to be a quick update, because obviously we're a bit of a mess at the minute, just trying to hold it together. So yeah, she's gone into surgery now, and so it's just a waiting game basically to see what happens. I'm recording this on my phone, so if it's terrible footage, it is what it is. I've just come away from the van just to kind of share my thoughts. This is just horrible, absolutely horrible. It's just shit. It's just shit. I don't even know if this will get aired. I don't know if we'll share this. The only reason for sharing it, as I say, is because it's part of our lives, isn't it? It's part of, this is just real life. And it's just a shock. She was absolutely fine this morning. She was absolutely fine, and then she didn't yelp, she didn't, just the back leg just gave way. I don't know. It's just hard to process it. I'm having to be strong for Emma. So that's why I've come away from the van, really. Just to share my thoughts, I guess. I don't know. I'm not even making sense, I don't think. I'm just numb. I'm just really numb. Anybody that's got a dog will understand. If you haven't got a dog, you might not understand kind of what they mean to you and how much of a part of a family they are to you. But I'm having to just basically grow up here and just be strong for Emma. Emma's obviously a mess. So Daisy's in surgery now. It's basically one of these things on her spine would have been bad. She's got 3. And I'm just trying to be strong. I'm trying to gather every bit of strength. Every bit of strength I've got. Just breaking it, Keep positive and just keep you updated. But I know how much you guys love Daisy as well. I don't even know if we're going to share this or if it'll ever get put on YouTube. I don't know. It's real life, and it's important that we go through. What's the point in showing you the good times in van life without showing you these times as well? No point vlogging your life, is it, if you don't share every moment? If you don't share these moments as well that people go through, you guys will go through stuff. You'll have gone through stuff. Maybe you've lost a pet, maybe you've lost a dog. And not that she's, I'm talking like she's gone already, but that's how it's just feeling at the minute. It feels like it's not looking good. That's how it feels. Like it's not looking good. It's not looking great. And so yeah, it's just important for us to share this, and maybe it'll help you get through it, It's probably not appearing as bad as it is on camera. Like this is bad. It's horrific. Maybe the surgery won't work. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, maybe it'll help you guys go through this. Maybe you can relate to it, you know. But like I say, there's no point showing you constantly how everything's epic, because you know what, sometimes life's not epic, is it? Sometimes it's really shit, and that's just life, and it's getting through it, you know. That's what it's about. It's about getting through it. And yeah, I've just got to be strong for Emma, so I thought I'm just going to take a little walk, sit down, share my thoughts to the camera. And yeah, so deep breath. I had a little bit of a cry then. Promised myself I wouldn't cry on YouTube. So I'll do that in private. I'll do that probably not even in front of Emma, because I need to be strong for Emma. I'll probably do that with my friends, or you know, my family, or something behind the scenes privately. Now's not the time for me to fall to pieces, is it? Gotta be there, gotta be strong. It's a shit day. So just still out here sharing my thoughts. Like, this is going to be really, it's not even going to be edited. I can't even be asked to edit this. It's going to be a real raw video if this even gets put on YouTube. I keep saying, like, I keep thinking to myself that, like, why am I sharing this on YouTube? But it's like I just keep thinking it's just real life, and it's not fair. It's not fair of us to not share this with you. It's not fair of us for Daisy to be such a big part of your lives if you watch us regularly. You know, but basically it's saying, so before Daisy went in, it basically said there's like three things that could happen or something, you know, when your mind's just absolutely numb, shock, and so I can't remember fully what he said. There's a chance it might work, obviously, got to think positive. There's a chance the operation might work. There's a chance that she'll make a recovery. The moment her left leg's basically paralysed, it's gone. There's a chance that it won't work. You know, the surgery might not work. I don't know if she could have a wheelchair. I've looked at those. Like, I've just been googling now, like dogs on these like wheelchairs. You can get wheelchairs for dogs. But there's a chance that it could be some kind of progressive thing that might never get better. And sadly, that's, you know. Right, I'm going to go make her a coffee.
So we haven't filmed for the last couple of days. It's been a couple of days since Daisy went in. We just couldn't bring ourselves to come onto camera to say anything. I think it's really important that we are kind of keeping you up to date on, you know, and keeping a vlog of where we are with Daisy, because I know how many of you love watching her and stuff. But it's also really hard for us to come onto a camera and talk about what's going on when we're emotionally going through all this at the same time. So where we're up to now is that Daisy had the surgery done. The surgeon, who was fantastic, came out and explained everything to us, and explained that she'd got, when they went in to have a look at her spine, they found 3 discs that were damaged basically, and one of those discs had been damaged for a really long time. It was rock solid. The whole outside and the inside of the disc that should be like jelly had gone rock solid. So in short, they had to remove those 3 discs to relieve the pressure on a spinal cord. But in doing that, they've had to take away the one that was hard. They've had to chip away at it, and that's meant that they've had to manipulate a spinal cord. And obviously they don't like to go anywhere near the spinal cord at all, but it was either do that and take the risk or do nothing, which they couldn't do nothing. So the surgeon just had to obviously make a decision and do the best that he could. So the long and short of it is that we don't know, we didn't know then, and we still don't know now, a couple of days after, where she is in terms of whether she'll walk again. She looks well, doesn't she?
Yeah, so we went to see her basically. She wasn't eating, so they phoned us and said, could you come down and see if she'll eat for you? So we went down. There's a little bit of positive news that her front end isn't paralysed, so there were a potential that she were completely paralysed, from the operation, trying to save her back legs basically. So the good news is that she's not fully paralysed. As Emma said, we still don't know if she's got the use of her back legs yet, but we managed to get some food down her. She picked up a bit when we went to see her. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard because you're not sleeping. All you're doing is thinking about it. Anybody who's got animals, loves animals, you'll know they're like your babies. They're not just, well, to me, Daisy, she's not a pet, she's a family member. To me, to Reese, to our kids, you know, she's a family member. And it's like having your baby in hospital. It's absolutely horrific. We love her to pieces, and we're really, 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 really concerned as to what the future holds, where we are now, what's going to happen next. There's still a lot of risks, but the main thing is that she's made it through 48 hours after surgery.
So there were a risk that she might not even make it through the surgery. You know, it were a long 4 hours, 5 hour surgery, something like that. And so there were a risk with her being so small that she might not even make it through that. So that were kind of the first step.
It's a long time to put them under when they're that small, isn't it? Yeah. Because they don't, even like doing dentistry on them, they don't like to keep them under anaesthetic for very long when they're so little. So obviously being a tiny chihuahua, you know, I know she's a bit chubby, but she's still really tiny. And being a tiny chihuahua, she's kind of putting under for that long was a real risk, but obviously something that they had to do.
And then the next risk, as I say, was that she might be completely paralysed. So it's kind of 2 hurdles she's got through already. So we're keeping positive on that.
There is a condition that they warned us about that's rare, and we can't fully remember whether this can happen later or whether they just know at the time. But when they start to do the surgery on the spine, it can kind of, there's something that can go wrong that they don't really even understand, but it spreads up and down the spine, and then it can basically cause just, it's just irreparable damage. There's nothing they can do if that happens, and obviously then they have to make a decision to put her to sleep if that happens. We're hoping and we're praying that that's something that if it had have happened, it would have happened by now. But we're not 100% sure on that. We can't talk to the surgeon at the moment because he's not back for another couple of days. So all we can kind of do really is just wait. And they've been so nice in letting us go in and see her. We turned up to take her food expecting to just kind of hand over. She has this little powder stuff, and if she won't eat a normal food, then you can give her this bit of powder and it just kind of spurs her appetite a little bit. And she had like a spoonful following the surgery, which was great, but then they couldn't get her to eat anything else, and they were saying, are we doing something wrong? And I'm like, no, she can just be really stubborn. If she's in pain, if you feed her late, anything, she goes on like strike, like on protest, and she won't eat. So I said, if we're to bring her the powder down, that might help. You can give her it in a syringe with a little bit of water, and it just sort of sparks her appetite. But as soon as we got there, this lovely lady, Sophia they called her, this veterinary nurse, she was like, come through, come and see her, it's fine. And she perked up as soon as we saw her, didn't she, Daisy? She were, you know, she were trying to shuffle with her front paws forward, but obviously they don't want her to move at the moment.
Yeah, so that's where we are basically. So we're just at Emma's relatives, which is quite nearby where Daisy's at in the animal hospital. So we're just staying there basically at the moment, so that we're on hand if we need to kind of go down. So the next hurdles basically are to see what the situation is with her back legs. You know, to see whether she's got use of her back legs, to see whether she's got use of her bowel movement. That's another concern. But, as I say, the positives at this stage are that she's got through the 2 major hurdles so far, and we just have to take each step as we go along, basically.
And we're hoping that the worst case scenario, is that her back legs won't work. And that at that point, they can fit her with some wheels. That's like worst case scenario. But I am really hoping that she will get the motion back in both of her legs. They're doing physio, they'll start doing physio on her, and told us they're going to start a day early, so they're going to start that today. And hopefully she'll get all her feeling back, and she'll be fitter and healthier than she even was before, and she might for the first time in her life actually have movement without any pain, because they've told us that she would have been in pain for quite some time with this disc, but obviously we didn't know. She didn't show any signs of being in pain, apart from getting a bit grouchy and grumpy over last year. But because she's got all the conditions, that's what we'd sort of put that down to. And we've literally been trying everything, haven't we? We've been, you know, you sat out, you're praying, you know, positive thinking, positive vibes, very into like my crystals and stuff, so you're doing all that sort of thing. Had a friend the other day tell me about and Archangel Raphael, who looks over animals and protects animals, and you burn a green candle, and they've been doing that for me, which is just, you know, amazing. I've had loads of people on like the van life groups kind of sending messages to us and stuff, so just really good to have all that support as well, isn't it? And really appreciate that. But we're just trying to keep you kind of this vlog, hopefully we're going to get to the end of this vlog and you're going to have really good news. So
one thing on that as well, apologies for not putting anything on YouTube community or any announcements on social media or like that, because we didn't want to, at that point, like you don't have, we wanted to kind of give you an answer to wherever we can as to what's happening, as opposed to everybody being worried, because obviously, like I say, you know, we know how much you guys love Daisy as well, so we didn't want to kind of leave you hanging, so that's why there's been no kind of announcement or update, or even, you know, this will be the first time that you guys realising what's happened. So,
and we have actually filmed the vlog that was meant to go out this week, but we've decided that what we're going to do is we're going to save that and we're going to put that out next week.
Yeah, so that'll be next week. So when you watch next week, she'll be kind of
she'll be running around and she'll be fine. And but obviously that's before all this has happened, because we took her away on a little trip, which will be lovely for you to watch anyway. But we decided that because it'll give us a week of making sure that if she is home, we can look after her, we can take care of her, we can focus 100% on her and not be having her moving around all over the place, which obviously won't be good for her. And it also gives like you guys a chance to kind of watch what I would say is probably the happiest that we've ever seen her. We took her away somewhere and she was just able to potter around on the grass without a lead, which she didn't normally do, and she loved it. And we did check with the surgeon whether that could have caused a problem, and he said absolutely not, because it was like a bit before this happened, so no problems there. But we just wanted to kind of give you a chance then the week after to sort of see her happy and running around and stuff. And we will then, once this video goes out, we will keep you updated then, you know, on the YouTube community as to how she's getting on, do little vlogs and stuff, you know, little videos, and show you how she's doing. Yeah.
Back to see how Daisy's doing tonight. Vet phoned early and said she was doing okay, so we've just come down to see her, see if we can get her eating again, and hopefully they'll be able to tell us more about how her physio's gone. She started a physio today, so we'll be able to see what damage is caused to her back legs, basically.
Do you want to go on YouTube? I see him. You want to go on YouTube?
Hello, can I have another kiss? When we went down to see her last night, we'd been told that she had some voluntary movement in her back right leg. The left leg, like nothing really at all, but in the right leg there was some voluntary movement. We didn't see that. We saw nothing of it. She looked happier, she looked perkier, but we didn't see any kind of movement at all. So kind of been another restless night. And then out of the blue this morning, we got a call from the surgeon that actually did the operation on Daisy. He's come back to work, Massimo. He's checked Daisy out, and basically between us seeing her last night and this morning, she's stood up. She's been able to kind of balance on her feet for a little bit. She's started to walk a little bit. Apparently, I don't know what that looks like. I don't want to get too excited. But she has, basically she's moving. She's trying her best to sort of walk, to move. So that it's unbelievable, because this now means that with treatment, with ongoing kind of support, there's a really good chance, I think, that we can get her walking again, and she's coming home. So it's just been like out of the blue this morning, just this call, and he was like, oh, I've checked Daisy out. She's been stood on her own for a couple of seconds. She was a bit wobbly, but then she has started to try and walk, and she's quite wobbly still, but she is trying to walk. So I don't know how much movement she's got in the left leg. I don't know whether that's actually moving or not, or whether she's just trying to walk with the back right leg. But she's trying to walk. She's moving. She's standing up herself, whether it's for a few seconds or not. She's standing up. And he said, you can come and pick her up. We'll give you instructions now to look after her. So we've come back to the cottage. We've been getting everything cleaned, sterilised, sprayed everywhere. We've been and got some new treats. We're going to pick up some more food for her now, get her favourite food. and bring her home. And just, yeah, it's going to be a learning curve. It's going to be a really steep learning curve because we don't really know what to expect yet. We don't really know what it's going to look like yet. But all that matters is she's coming home. She's made it through and she's trying to walk and she's standing up. And so, yeah, just full on excitement, full on worry. I don't even know what to feel at the minute, hasn't sunk in.
So yeah, so we are back at the cottage. We've been lucky again. When anything seems to happen, we seem to fall lucky. So there's about 4 days where the cottage is not kind of booked up, which is just an absolute godsend because obviously we don't know what she's going to be like when she does get home. And so just being back at the cottage, even for these 3 or 4 days before we have to get out again, is just an absolute godsend because it means that she can just be comfortable in the cottage as opposed to the van. The van would have been okay, but it just feels like, you know, we've sterilised everything in the cottage, and so that's been a real godsend. So as Emma said, we're gonna head now. I can't believe it. I can't believe I'm saying these words. It could have been such a different story, such a different end to this. I don't even bear thinking about. But we're gonna go pick her up. She's coming home, and let's just see. It's gonna be a long, long road to recovery, is my guess. But these 3 or 4 days in the cottage just gives her that kickstart before she has to go back in the van, bless her heart. And yeah, we'll just cross that bridge when we come to it. Let's go get her. Time to pick her up.
Hello, well done, wow. Wow, Daisy, wow, clever girl. I could not believe it. We literally, we missed the shot. We should have got the shot, but we were just so like nervous and excited. And the door opened, and Massimo, the surgeon, just walked out with Daisy on a lead, and she came just toddling across. She had a shake and fell over, but she came just like toddling across. You should have seen the look on her face. She was so proud of herself. She was like, "Mum, look what I can do. Look at me, look at me." She's done so well. And yeah, the difference from yesterday, night and day, I cannot believe it. She just toddled across, but the look on her face, I'll never forget that. She's just so proud of herself, so excited to come out. And Reese kind of went for camera, but we were just so in that moment, you know, just being there for her in that moment. But she's on a lot of meds, a lot of care. We'll explain it all to you when we get back to the cottage. She's dying to get back, so we're going to make our way back.
She's back home now, like in what is an absolute miracle. So we've since learned from Massimo showing us the MRI scans and the x-rays and whatever else they did, that it didn't quite, he was telling us gently basically throughout that process that she wasn't gonna walk. You could see he was trying to tell us that. And here she is walking. He couldn't believe it himself, couldn't Massimo the vet. What a miracle this is basically. So we're back home. I know this hasn't been the most polished vlog, the audio's been all over, just because we just didn't have time to start thinking, oh, we need to mic ourselves up and make this look cinematic. In the heat of the moment, like, it just a real raw, full of emotion vlog, and I'm sorry to kind of like probably scare half of you as well, but it's just real life, innit? It's just is what it is. Even now, I'm not making sense. My head's still all over. But the main thing is that she's back, she's safe, and we've got a long road to recovery in front of us. But what a little fighter! So I'll leave you with a few clips of her taking what is her first step since the operation. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next Tuesday, which will be the vlog that was supposed to go out this week from when Daisy were absolutely fine. So make sure you do that. And I might even start putting in little videos throughout the week, little 4 or 5 minute videos of how she's progressing throughout this week and beyond. Obviously the Tuesday vlogs will stay the same, so make sure you're subscribed simply so that you don't miss those if you want to keep up with Daisy's story and how she's progressing. Thank you so much for watching. Keep writing your own story.
Good girl. Well done, Daisy. Good girl. Okay, so go steady. That's it. Good girl.